Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we're super happy to have you here. And if you've been listening and enjoying for a while, I would be super grateful if you would please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the best and simplest ways to pay it forward and help others find the show so that they too can tap into the powerful perspectives and positive vibrations we are collectively emanating. The other unique and magical way to share this show is by sending any friends you think would benefit from listening to this podcast our Game with the Universe link at positivehead.com/game. Also listed in the show notes, which will serve them up a quote-unquote random episode when they click it. Just instruct them before clicking the link to close their eyes for a moment and sincerely ask the universe to cue up the episode that contains the insight and perspectives that they most need to hear at this point in their life journey, and then click to listen to whatever episode is synchronistically served up to them. I have heard time and time again from people about the incredible results they received playing the game. So just tell your friends magical results are guaranteed or their karma back. All right, all you positive heads, welcome. Here we grow again. It is the last day of 2023, at least, the last day that I'll record in 2023. And, we're heading into a very abundant 2024 is an 8-year, which is the number for abundance. If you've read in the Golden Key, I talk a lot about that. But yeah, so excited to see what an 8-year, if you turn it on its side, it's an infinity, the infinite abundance that awaits us all in the new year. And, at a time when the world is so wild and uncertain, and AI and wars and World War III possible and all this, there's so much moving. It's a indicator more than ever to go to within to find the calm, the eye of the storm, if you will, in finding that calm center. And it's something that I've intuitively felt would be for a long time, like the quickening, the evolution, the speeding up, and the expansion and the growth and the crumbling of the old system, and everything's just like the train is moving so quickly, and it's more than our little meager human minds can really grapple with and understand, and it almost forces us into this state of surrender and just allowing what is to unfold and finding the calm center. Yeah, everything that arises, yes, oh, good, excellent, this is as it should be. Just non-resistance more than ever feels like such a theme. And obviously you want to, take indicators on how and which direction to move, but without all that attachment, without all the things that we typically, fighting so hard to create an outcome. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really over it. I'm tired of seeking to control my world as if I know, I can move in a direction with a childlike wonder, of a childlike attitude of, and what the heck do I know? I could be completely wrong, but I'm stepping in this direction. And if it doesn't happen, I'm going to trust what does happen. And the world is wild and, so many things that we could get fearful about. And it's like, I know fear is the ultimate enemy. That's the thing that crushes you. I'm just going to move into a state of trust and curiosity and wonder, right? That is the most loving place to be in, to have that childlike wonder, to have that curiosity, to look at everything through the eyes of trying to just understand it. A child's not judging why a thing is a certain way. It's like just trying to make heads or tails of it, right? I know enough to know I don't know much. So yeah, 2024, here we come, ready or not. And, last time I recorded a week or so ago, when I recorded a a solo episode, I pulled from a card deck, Oracle deck called Sacred Rebels by Alana Fairchild with art by Autumn Sky. That's just a beautiful deck that actually my son gifted to me a while back. And I just really, really like this deck. And I'd never pulled a card in all the years of doing the podcast. And I did that. And I got one that I've pulled many times before, and it just seemed like, okay, this message is for not just me, repeatedly coming up for me, but for the collective. And so I started thinking about today and what I would talk about. And I thought, you know what? Why don't we run it back? Why don't we do another poll and make this one for 2024? That is the intention that I'm setting. What is the card that is most appropriate for every soul that will ever hear these words, that will tune into this broadcast? Think about it, we're all connected in some unique way. Some weird little soul fam that happens to connect over. I always think of that. Like, you're at a gathering. It's like, here you have a moment where it'll never be this congregation of souls again. And it's happening for some reason. And then, you think of it, I can think of it and extend that to every sort of moment in my life, in the Starbucks, everyone that's there at that moment, or everyone that will tune into this particular broadcast with the intention even being set going into it, of it being sort of a oracle pull, if you will, for all of us going into this abundant 8-year, 2024 year. And the idea that Source, our higher self, God, the universe, cosmos, consciousness, whatever you want to call it, knows who all those individuals are and what card is. It's already been pulled, right? In the eternal now moment that we're about to catch up to as I'm sitting here shuffling. So let's see what card, and then I'll read. One of the reasons I really like it, not only is the artwork beautiful, Autumn Sky's art, but Alana Fairchild, who does the writing of the actual deck, is really, really talented. And so let's see what is in store for all of us listening for 2024, every P-head that will ever tune into this broadcast. And by the way, even if you listen to this in 2042 or 2244, there's still, I want to set the intention that there will be a message for that person as well. But most of us will tune in for this new year, most likely. Oh, here's the card. Ooh, I've never seen this card. I've never pulled this card. I don't even think I've ever seen it. It is Release the Dark Wound. Let Love Live. Interesting. Okay, let's see what, like I said, I don't even recall ever seeing this card. So it's got a person releasing a fish back into the water. And it's the fish, the hands are held out. And the fish is halfway in the water, being, jumping back in, if you will. So release the dark wound, let love in. I'm going to go ahead and read it. If we detach something from its source too soon, trying to force it to become what it is not yet ready or willing to become, we can unintentionally sap it of its strength and kill it. There is a dark wound in the consciousness of humanity which demands perfection and denies process. If you are thinking of publishers before you have ever written a book, if you are comparing your unfinished song idea to the latest best-selling pop release, if you have decided you are not good enough or worthy enough to succeed before you've given it everything you've got and asked for divine help, then the dark wound has you in its grasp. You have to let go of the death grip of perfectionism and let yourself and your ideas live. Love is abundant, creative, and inspiring. It moves us so much more joyously and creatively than fear. You're being asked to honor the path of your own love. What inspires you? What feels exciting, joyful, and perhaps even rather different? Let that live. Release the dark wounding of false belief. There are countless stories of vastly successful artists who very nearly bend the project that was the making of their career because of the despair fostered by their own dark nature. They doubted. They were uncertain. Was their work any good? Was it useless? They struggled to believe in the right of a work to come to life, whether it was accepted, revered, or rejected by others, or not. They nearly lost their work to fear. Undoubtedly, there have been many times when this has actually happened, and the work was not saved, not allowed to live. Do not let this happen to you. Whether something is meant to be a commercially oriented venture or a more personal creation for your own therapeutic healing, it must be allowed to be, without judgment, without criticism, even without premature evaluation. It must be allowed to be what is, and only time, love, patience, and attention will reveal it. If you have drawn this card, along with the Oracle of Defend to the End, the Worthwhile, or the Oracle of New Birth, Guarded Vigilantly, then the message above is amplified, and you are asked to act on this immediately so that your path can continue under the protection of grace and wisdom. If you feel drawn to read the messages of one or both of these additional oracles, whether you have drawn the cards in this reading or not, trust your instincts and do that in addition to completing the reading of this guidance and the healing process below. You can do that, the healing processes for those additional cards if you wish to do so as well. The message of this card are also amplified if you have drawn the Oracle of Beyond the Mind, the Heartbeats. If you have not drawn that card, but feel inspired to read its messages and complete the healing process for that oracle, trust yourself and do so now. Before we continue on with today's episode, for those of you interested in getting more fantastic fungi in your life, I want to take a quick moment to tell you about a friend of mine's brand new company, The Great Mother. Recently, I have been drinking the Great Mother's superfood mushroom coffee alternative called Ritual, as well as regularly taking their awesome Ally microdoses, and I am truly loving both. As you probably know, these days, many of the world's highest achievers and performers swear by microdosing. The problem is it can still be difficult to get a hold of magic mushrooms. That's why when my friend reached out, who lives in an area and country where legalization is not a problem like it was in the past, and said he'd be willing to offer microdoses to my listeners, I wanted to pass the word along. Ally microdoses are 100% organic. And in addition to a small amount of the magic active ingredient, they also contain functional mushrooms like lion's mane, cordyceps, chaga, and other brain boosters like bacopa. Ally is essentially a full spectrum nootropic. And of course, the coffee alternative Ritual doesn't contain magic mushrooms, but it has an array of the best organic functional mushrooms in the world. And, with functional mushrooms, it's really important to get them from the highest integrity sources. And whereas some other highly popular mushroom coffee alternatives on the market only contain a few varieties of functional mushrooms in their actual ingredients, Ritual has 7. Not only does it contain more types, it also contains 3 to 4 times the amount that the big brands have in each serving. And it tastes amazing. I actually like to have it on its own, as well as mixing it into my coffee sometimes as well. However, since this is definitely a unique offering, there are a few steps. First, just reach out and request to follow the private page, thegreat.mother on Instagram. Once you've been accepted to follow, just message what you're interested in getting and someone will get back to you. Here's the healing process for this particular Release the Dark Wound, Let Love Live. Say the declaration below out loud 3 times. Be in your heart and really feel what you are expressing. Okay, here we go. I now choose of my own free will to release all cellular memories and belief systems based in the dark wound of criticism, judgment, shaming, and fear, so that my creative, loving energy may thrive in a nourishing environment conducive to growth. Through all time and space, through all dimensions of my being, through unconditional love, so be it. Okay, I'm going to do it 2 more times. I now choose my own free will to release all cellular memories and belief systems based in the dark wound of criticism, judgment, shaming, and fear, so that my creative, loving energy may thrive in a nourishing environment conducive to growth. Through all time and space, through all dimensions of my being, through unconditional love, so be it. 1 more time. I now choose of my own free will to release all cellular memories and belief systems based in the dark wound of criticism, judgment, shaming, and fear, so that my creative, loving energy may thrive in a nourishing environment conducive to growth. Through all time and space, through all dimensions of my being, through unconditional love, so be it. All right. Cool. I like that one. Okay. It looks like we got a little time here. Let's do this one more time. 1 more card, just to be cool if I pulled one of the ones that she mentioned there. Let's see what's in store for us. 1 more card for all those tuned in. Ideal message to help them step into 2024. The the greatest and grandest version of themselves, or any moment they're hearing these words, step into that future year ahead and the greatest and grandest version of themselves. Oh, I just dropped a card. Trust yourself. All right. Trust yourself. Let's see. Which really goes with what we just were saying, right? Let's see. Very cool. This one has a lot of like a beautiful woman with all these like butterflies and lizards and frogs and parakeets flying out of her hair and head, and even like lions and like all kinds of wildlife all around her. You are wise. You know how to grow, even without knowing how you know. Like the ancient forest, spectacular galaxies, and the acorn that becomes the oak. There's a natural intelligence for growth that is beyond logic and reason. It just happens. At the deepest levels, we are governed by this force that is so palpable it literally shapes the world. At the same time, it is so invisible that sometimes we forget its presence and worry that our minds have to work everything out for life to happen and for us to be all right. We can become unnecessarily anxious about our affairs and how life will unfold. This oracle brings the message that you are growing. You really are. Don't doubt it. Even if you don't see it yet, remember that so much is happening when the seed is still unbroken in the ground. Below the earth, it is summoning up all the might, power, and force it needs to push above the topsoil and burst up into the light. It is essential for anything good to happen later on. Yet we don't see any of that. We just have to trust that things will happen when the time is right. You are also being asked to trust in yourself. You know how to grow. Don't overthink things. It won't help you. Don't worry so much. You're doing a great job in this game of life. When you trust yourself, you relax and you can heed your own wisdom, insight, and messages much more clearly and easily. This oracle comes with particular guidance. You have a big destiny this lifetime and much to experience. Sometimes you make the error of judging something that is unpleasant as negative or a mistake. It isn't. It's just part of your great hunger for experience. It doesn't mean you have to have a lot of it, but when you do, don't shame yourself for it. Simply let it be. Maybe it's just fertilizer for your next steps on the path. It's all part of your life process, and it's all a sign of growth. This oracle is also telling you not to resist any points of instability in your life. This even applies to your most treasured relationships or creative projects. That instability is just a growing pain because more consciousness, more love, and more light wants to infiltrate and pervade all parts of your life. The instability is not a sign of sickness, but of growth. So don't fret. Instead, choose to flow and grow. Yeah, I really like that part. That instability and growing pains and things aren't quite going as we want. And it's so easy to look at it as like, oh, what's wrong with me? Why am I off? And really, it's ultimately, so more light and consciousness can infiltrate and pervade all parts of your life. Okay, here's the healing process for this one. Close your eyes and relax for a moment. Breathe in and out. Let your awareness drift away from worries and day-to-day matters and settle instead on the feeling of warmth inside your body. Then slowly imagine, sense, feel, or perceive that you have an acorn in your hand. You are standing in nature as sunrise breaks, flooding the horizon with color and light. As you hold the acorn up to the light of the rising sun, something magical happens. Out of the acorn, a hologram shines forth. It is a blueprint of this entire being that is yet to be. You see an acorn in that hologram, but you also see a marvelous oak tree. You see the wildlife that will support and be supported by the tree, the ecosystem of which it is a part. You see yourself holding the acorn up to the rising sun. You see seasons demarcated as rings of time within the trunk of the tree. You see the passing lives of many people that enjoy the oak tree through its long life. Place the acorn down on the ground as the sun continues to rise. Imagine, if you will, kneeling and touching your forehead lightly to the earth in reverence for the genius of growth. That same genius lives within you. In your own time, open your eyes and go about your day. You have completed your healing process. Love it, love it, love it. These are powerful ways to kick off the new year, release the dark wound, let love in, and let love live, and trust yourself. Trust yourself more. Trust the process. I really like how it, and I've been thinking about that a lot. I have a lot of like, oh, in hindsight, I would do this different and that different. I mean, so many things with creative projects and ways I've approached lots of things. And it's like pointless. It really, as if something were wrong. And the more we can go, if it's just getting us into that state of surrender and trust when things didn't go as planned, then that is the plan, right? And the ultimate plan, that ultimate flow state, moving, just allowing what is to flow. And yeah, which is perfect with the song I chose today. It's called Flow State. It's by Northern Form, a remix by Toma. Hope you enjoy. I'll see you next year.
na 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 na